Reapers Underground. We hope you survive.
Yeah, it is that time yet again for another edition of Reapers Underground. And tonight is a special one. This is one that touches me personally. Not because I am a serial killer myself, because I am not, but it is definitely a topic I'm very familiar with, especially in the realm of horror. And beyond, all things dark, which is what the underground is all about. And I am so pleased to bring tonight one of the most awesome small businesses that I've come into contact with on my tour, my appearance tour over the last year. And nobody knows this true crime, paranormal, everything that is dark and lovely that we love so much, other than Offbeat Horror. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. We were originally doing it last week, but Thanksgiving, it happens.
Yeah, it kind of messes. Hey, thank you so much for having us here. We're super excited.
Absolutely. It's just an absolute pleasure. And every time I see you guys at the cons, it's great to talk to you. And I'll definitely be getting some more goodies. But we're going to talk about all things true crime and the paranormal and wherever the fuck it takes us this evening. I don't give a fuck. But before we get into all this wonderful brutality, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brother over at Horror Struck Hot Sauce. Check that shit out. That's right. You know what the fuck to do. I've been telling you now for about a month. If you are a hot sauce lover and you're a lover of horror, let's get hotter than hell. Get your asses over to HorrorStruckHotSauce.com. He's got some new flavors that just got dropped on us within the last week. So get those orders in before Christmas time. All right. Hello. Go right ahead. I'm so sorry.
First off, dude, I love the opening sequence and I love the hot sauce commercial. It takes me back to like 20 years ago when you'd see heavy metal stuff, it has that whole fucking vibe and it's fucking rad. So I just want to say that.
Well, thank you.
And watch Headbangers Ball for us.
Yeah, that's what it feels like for sure. I like it, dude. Good job.
Before I became an actor, a horror actor, I was a professional death metal drummer for about 30 years. So metal is deeply ingrained in everything I do.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you heard me. I said I've been looking for a drummer for about 30 years, dude. Drummer's like the hardest shit to find.
I'm for hire these days. I don't tour like I used to, but I am all about doing collaborations. I do a lot of studio projects in my off time. So we have to talk.
When me and Chelsea first met, like our first 60 days of our relationship was spent in the back of a van touring the U.S.
Nice.
And playing with a horror ska punk band.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, everybody out in the attic section. I see you all, you beautiful motherfuckers. You, Brother Mortimer there. Yabelka back from the abyss. So good to see you this evening. Brother Kyler's out there, Lizzie, and I believe Cody and Rebecca are with us also. And I see a whole hell of a lot more of you out there as well. Make sure you are sharing this out anywhere and everywhere there is a true crime lover, a lover of horror, and all things dark. All right, man. So my first question for you is what started you on this journey, creating such an awesome, it's a very niche kind of a business, in my opinion, because there's not a lot of people doing it. You know, true crime is popular, sure, on, fucking television, but to make this a small business and you are actually able to provide those that are big lovers of true crime with some of the most, I don't know, I've seen your collection, at all the cons, and I'm just blown the fuck away every time I take a look. So what started you on this journey?
Take it away, baby.
He's like, fuck me, I'm out. I love it.
An ash, so I'm not like picking my nose or anything. I'm trying to get the ash out of my nose.
Oh, that sucks. I feel it.
Individually, we had things in our childhood that happened, curiosities, traumas, all the normal stuff that makes you like the shit that we like. But together we met, and it was kind of a slow, like, how do you feel about this? Just to kind of warm up. And then it was like, I remember one of the first things that I was like, God, it would be so cool to have were some of like the Manson spiders that
okay
would make, or, of course, the pogos and stuff. But so we kind of did a, would you be scared away if I said I wanted to like own something? And both of us were like, absolutely the fuck not. Like, that's so cool. So one of our first Christmases together, I got him a piece of the Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment building.
Whoa.
Polished contract, took bricks and part of the foundation and stuff, broke it up into pieces and sold it. And so that kind of started our collection. And then he got us, he connected with Merle Allen, who is Gigi Allen's brother for the Merle. We did a lot of booking, and he did some touring with them and stuff. And we bought a Jack Trawick letter that went into graphic detail. So that was our first, I think, big piece in our collection, and we just grew from there.
Yeah, and to clarify, we had a punk rock venue.
Yeah,
and we booked the Murder Junkie several times. I didn't
tour with the Murder Junkie.
I kind of figured I put the pieces together as my mind always does. But I've listened to a bunch of his interviews. Just a wealth of knowledge, especially about that time. Big thing.
And he was doing, he was corresponding with all these serial killers way before any of us.
Shit. Wow.
He was kind of breaking new ground, I think, at that point. But yeah, we started buying stuff from him, and then it just kind of, you start meeting other collectors, and you kind of find out who the legit collectors are. And it started off just kind of curating a collection, which we eventually had to see them. But then people kept asking to buy things. So like, oh shit, let's sell some of this stuff. So
we had pretty much our wall in our house was slowly filling up, and we had an entire wall of stuff. We had cases, display cases, and our friends would come over, and it would be one of several reactions. It would be like, oh, this is really cool, but you guys are fucking nuts. Or like, this is really cool, how do I get some of this myself? Or like, fuck this is insane. Yeah. But also, this is interesting. So no matter who came by, it was like something interested them. And one of our goals was to always have like a storefront of something, like records, t-shirts, like vintage stuff, music, just a cool place that catered to music and metal and all the, offbeat things, I guess, that people, So we finally got that opportunity, and we're like, fuck it, let's just make it a museum where people can come and like, let's get it out of our house because it takes up so much space, number one. But people came to actually see it, and people wanted to buy stuff. And then it was like, hey, this is cool, but you know what I've always wanted? And then it became like this really awesome treasure hunt that we got to do for ourselves and for other people. So it's just been the coolest opportunity we could have ever asked for, truthfully.
Yeah.
Most deaf.
We spent all those years to get the store, and then about a year into having the store, COVID hit.
Yeah.
But we managed to start.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, we started doing Facebook Lives, and there for a while, I mean, we were getting like 1 million impressions a month on our Facebook, and
Nice.
hundreds of people tune in from all over the world that were at home. And we started building sets and having characters in the background as we're selling these toys. And
Our friends were bored as fuck during COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
Oh, trust me, many of us were.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
drink and show our asses and have a good time and
Yeah.
play with stuff. And
everything someone bought smelled like cigarette smoke. And they, you know, I'd get emails from people like, hey, I got your package, man. It's almost like I'm there. I can smell the cigarette smoke. Are those cool 100s?
Right? Are those Camels or Marlboros, you know?
Yeah.
And to the average person, you know, especially probably back in those times even, probably felt like a lot of these items were out of reach because they had to be so fucking expensive to get your hands on.
Yeah.
You know, especially some of the stuff that you guys have. I mean, it's an amazing collection. Let's see here. Mortimer says, I have a chunk of a old wooden suspension bridge to to a big local ghost story. Oh, wow. Very
Yeah,
cool.
stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm. Kyler asks, do you guys have skeleton keys or old keys that may or may not be like a haunted item or belong to, you know, somebody?
We did. We had a large collection, and then somebody, I think it was like because honestly, people would come hang out and we get to know everybody. And that's been like one of the coolest things about starting Offbeat was all the people we met. But we had a giant box of skeleton keys, and this one girl just absolutely loved them. So when we were ready to close down shop and stuff like that, we ended up just giving her the whole box, the rest of the box. She'd bought so much from us. So we just got rid of it. But those are things that we can absolutely get again.
And here's the thing. If your viewer is watching right now, all he has to do is go to Facebook, hit up Jim Toll of Mountain Oddities. He's got hundreds of them.
Yeah.
That's our
There you go, Kyler.
I like to we love supporting other places like us too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Get that lighter, girl. Trying to smoke the cigarette.
I mean, I think the story of you two coming together, you know, it's like the perfect dark romance, you know. Hey, you know, I'm really into like Dahmer. You know what I mean? It's not something that really normally would bring two people together. I mean, obviously in my world, it's like the darker the better, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's awesome, and how you've been able to build upon. You know, I don't know. Would you call it fascination or just a really big interest in dark history?
For me, it's a really big interest in dark history. Ever since I can remember, like I remember my Grammy reading true crime books like Patricia Cornwall and stuff like that. And I remember it was like the paperbacks, and they had the glossy pages with the pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And I was, 6, 7, 8 years old. I was always a huge reader, and like I would wait for her to finish them because she'd put them back on her bookshelf, start another one, and I'd go in, smuggle it away, and I'd read it, and it just snowballed from there for me. So, but it was always how I couldn't wrap my mind around how a human being that like me, a flesh and blood, could do, like what happened in their brains that caused them to do these things. And then of course, as I got older, is it trauma? Is it mental illness? Are people inherently born evil? All these different questions that spawn these amazing conversations and other people's thoughts about it. It's just this innate fascination with it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the psychosis. What could drive somebody to do this? Because as we know, most serial killers, it's kind of like it's not. I don't want to say habit, but it's like an urge that they have that they just have to get it out.
Right. And we have,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We have urges, and we
Hell
can
yeah,
control our urges for the most part. But I understand the urge of wanting to get cut off traffic enough times. Yeah, you want to get out of the car and kill the motherfucker, but you don't. You have self-control. So what was the part in those people where they either had no self-control, or they lost that self-control, or the urge to have that feeling or that curiosity overtook all moral boundaries of that person?
Yeah, like nothing would stop them.
Right.
And where they drew their inspiration from, I think is something that also kind of plays into it. Especially in film, we think about the art of doing these heinous crimes, like Hannibal Lecter, and how every instance became a work of art. But for somebody like Gacy, it's what happened there?
A church deacon and a political figure in the community to murder and dismember and bury and whatever 36, 37 underage boys. Like, they're not, he hit check marks of being a pillar in a community, the person you're supposed to be able to go to and trust. But if you put now, if nobody knew who John Wayne Gacy was, and you put him in a lineup with me, Chad, and John Wayne Gacy, not knowing it was Gacy, people would look at him and feel safe around him.
Exactly. Like, oh, it can't be that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, sir. Never look like us. Always average looking dudes.
Not you. We came across Gregory Scott Hale was an interesting one.
Yeah, but he was just a one time.
But talking about the movies, some of the serial killers inspired the movies, but think about how the movies inspired the serial killers. It's just
for sure.
It's
for sure.
Life imitating art, imitating life, and it's just this wild, I think, just genre and idealism and whatever you think about it, it just pushes some of these people, I think, to do things. I don't know. It's eerie.
Well, I mean, when you look at the time of let's say Charles Manson, for instance,
that was just drugs.
Exactly. It's like he didn't even touch anyone. Right. But I think things were very indicative of the times in some cases.
He just drugged
and then
people to get them to see that, or think he was some kind of Jesus or whatever, and follow him blindly. But that was just the power of LSD and a smooth tongue, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that smooth,
which is no different than let's say Jamestown. Same thing, but just a different face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's religion. That's a whole nother topic. I don't know if we want to get into, but
Oh well, this is a safe place for that. For sure. Let's see. Mortimer says, my question would have to be for each of any piece or item really got to you. And that was one thing I was going to bring up too. Like, was there an item that when you felt the energy of it, did it just knock you back a few steps? What was that one item for each of you?
I know one right now for Chelsea, because I've been editing a video for our show for the last 60 hours. And we acquired some pieces from the Amityville Horror House.
Ooh, yeah.
Spiritually, I guess, I'm very in touch and in tune with my spiritual and paranormal side.
Sure.
He
The
came
ethereal.
as a skeptic, but it was really cool because it's actually one of the guests that we have coming to our crime convention, True Crime and Paranormal Convention, is Judy LaChance, and she is actually integral in all of this, because we had a last rites kit from the
Ooh.
that was found in the basement of a Catholic church that was getting ready to be demolished.
Ooh.
He ended up acquiring that. Extremely haunted. We had several paranormal teams come out, including Judy's, and Judy was the only one crazy enough to be like, "This is haunted as fuck. I want it." And that's why I just fell in love with
it.
Chad's known her for a long time, but Judy.
I sold her a coffin on Craigslist 20 years ago.
Oh man.
And then he bought it back from her 20 years later.
That's because there was something significant to that piece, I'm sure.
There was.
Absolutely.
It absolutely was. It came from a friend that passed. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, the coffin he was buried in, he owned the coffin prior to passing away. And we were short on cigarette and beer money. Hey, if you sell this on Craigslist, I'll split it with you. So I sold that bitch immediately for like $100.
Oh my goodness.
And then years later, she ended up giving it back to me for free, which was really cool. It sits in a museum.
That is cool.
Dedicated to him.
But Judy, when we were doing the paranormal investigation on the Last Rites kit, she let me know that he was actually my shield. I'm an empath, and I don't like titles. I just do things, and things happen, and it's fun.
We'll let the Christians dictate what they're called. The New Agers.
I'm just chaos in a box. I don't know how to explain.
Yep. That's usually a good way to put it.
That's a good band name.
Also, yes.
Christ. But he's my shield, so he protects me from all of the, nasties and stuff that I don't want around.
I too absorb all of like the negative, dark energies and can like chew it up and then spit it out.
He's amazing, and our pairing is just, a crazy thing in and of itself in that world. But
for sure.
So we ended up buying a huge collection when we were down in Florida, including stuff from Eileen Wuornos, Ted Bundy, Gacy, including the Amityville Horror stuff. So of course we immediately take it to Judy because and it's funny that you chose that one. Because I was so excited about the Amityville Horror stuff, because I know that you and whoever else is in here can immediately like identify with something more than something else, whether it's some kind of personal connection or whatever. But Amityville Horror for me was something that from my childhood like piqued my interest, and I didn't know why. So it was a lamp from inside the house, and it was a piece of the wallpaper that was in when the DeFeo murders occurred. Yes. So all of these things were in this box, and the way I approach everything is I don't research anything beforehand. I compare notes after I have my experience, then I do my research. So we talks to Judy, and Judy immediately, like, we were going through things, and she was like, the Ted Bundy stuff is like screaming out kind of, but it's not.
Sure.
It's more of like a bully.
It's got to be a lot of trap souls within that stuff.
It was more intimidating. Like, he was trying to be intimidating more than anything. But the Amityville Horror stuff genuinely was just like the biggest nope, fuck no, absolutely not, fuck you. We did an investigation around it. She has stuff that she's had for 20 years that has never pinged, gone off, reacted, whatever, but she just uses it just in case. She said when we were there, every single thing that she had went off in some capacity when we were doing our investigation around the Amityville. And as much as I was so excited about those pieces, they fucked with me so hard. And I told Chad, I was like, I don't give a fuck if it goes trash can. I don't care if it stays here. It's not going home. It's not coming in the car. I don't want
You don't want that in your good energy, positive energy bubble, your safe place.
She was doing sensory deprivation, like where she has earphones on, eye thing on. She can't.
Ooh, hell no.
She's just channeling. And she's hitting on some things that for me were big focuses on Amityville Horror.
Mm-hmm.
I was like it called me out basically. And it was pretty verbally abusive, but I knew that it was.
I'm not surprised by that.
Oh,
and
man.
we were asking questions while she couldn't hear or see us, and she was answering them in real time, which was it was pretty weird. At one point she said,
that's wild. Yeah. Straight up medium right there.
Yeah. And at one point she mentioned, I think, demon or something like that. And then the dog immediately had a physical reaction at the same time. And that episode will be available in the next couple of months to watch. But cool.
We look forward to that. And what they're alluding to, everybody out there in the Morgrot universe, is they have their own podcast
and show. And we just put our stuff out there. We were working with we were being pitched to streaming. We were working with a company, and we still are. They've been great to us.
Nice.
But they were trying to make it fit into a box. And from the get-go, we were like, they were trying to make it more marketable, which
I was going to say, they probably wanted to be hokey, right?
We're not hokey, just I guess more palatable for.
Oh, gotcha. A little dumbed down, maybe.
Yeah, and it was just, it's
Fuck
like
that.
That's not who we are. So we decided to go ahead and re-edit everything, and Chad's been working so fucking hard on it. We're re-editing everything the way that we want it to be put out and what we want to see. So we get to kind of start from square one again, and they have the stuff that we've given them and they're still pitching it. But we just kind of said, fuck it. Like, we're going to take the reins as well and put out our own product.
You have to. It's the only way to keep the realness of it, I think.
For sure. But you can go watch those episodes. There's a streaming platform called Cold Open with a K. And we have 2 episodes of the show called Murderabilia. And we have a trailer for a documentary we are doing with the family killer. So you can watch all that. So by the beginning of 2025, we'll have the documentary completed. And then probably 5 or 6 episodes of our show, the way we wanted to do it to start with.
What's the link for that?
Well, everything you can find at offbeathorror.com, but it's called Cold Open with a K. It's a stream.
Gotcha.
And if you download it, we're like one of the top watched things as far as true crime goes on their channel. And we've had some really big meetings, but nothing's came to fruition.
We're still not, I guess if you put it, dumbed down enough, I guess. It's still like Murderabilia in and of itself. There's never been a mainstream show that features Murderabilia and what we do.
Nope.
And
a lot of sensibilities.
Aren't ready for it, even though
they're fascinated by it.
Well, the reason we stepped out is because it's a very private thing for a lot of people. The community is extremely private for the most part, and we completely respect that. And we've met some amazing people along the way. Some of them have felt comfortable enough with the way we present it to be a part of it, and we're so thankful for them trusting us to do it that way. But we got so fucking sick and tired of the only coverage Murderabilia as a whole was having were, dickheads that still live with their mom in their 40s coming on.
Charlatans.
It was like news coverage, and they're like, well, we don't give a fuck. We don't, I'm doing it to make money and everybody else can suck my dick or whatever.
Wow.
And that is such a fucking shithead way to go about it. And it disrespects
it is
everything that a lot of people are a part of it for. Like, we're extremely sympathetic to also, yes, it's fascinating, but there were also victims, and they're still.
You have to keep that in mind. Yeah.
And so we just tried to approach it in a different light and shed some different light on it, which is still extremely hated. But
love it.
yeah, you can't.
Small minds.
You can't control what other people think about it, and some people are just going to be so close-minded that if they decide that they're going to hate it, they're never going to sit back and listen about it with an open mind and try to see it in a different way. We're disgusting, we're horrible, we're insensitive, we're going to hell, and it's like, Karen, like, this
Really?
up for it, but it's okay, because right now we're working towards a bigger goal.
Right.
Your opinion's not gonna stop us from doing that. So
No. And I don't think, because, people get, so attached to these things. Yeah, it was very tragic. It was very horrible. And I don't think that any, single person that is into true crime like this is into it for all the wrong reasons. It's more, I think, about not just curiosity, and people always say that. I think they just legitimately want to learn, so that it's almost like educating yourself how to pick out, you know, certain signs in certain people, so that you're able to keep them out of your bubble, your space.
oh yeah, I
You
mean,
know what I mean? I think it's way more educating that way.
ignorance is bliss, but you know what? It also gets you killed. So
Right. In a
edu-
lot of ways. That's what we teach our kids today. What
right,
to look out for. This is why we won't let you do this or that. It's because we know that this shit has happened before.
right. And it's kind of like, so you think you're better than us because you're in Pigeon Forge with your family and you're going to go buy a
Oh
ticket to,
yeah, nothing's ever gonna happen
right.
because
Well,
you have $1 billion behind you.
you're gonna you're gonna buy family tickets to Alcatraz East and go through and see, all of, like, Ted Bundy's Bronco, or OJ's Bronco,
Mm.
Bundy's Bug, all the Gacy stuff. But it's okay because it's a mobster thing too, or you're gonna go to the Museum of Death, or you're gonna pay money to pay, get these tickets to see these things. But we're essentially our own museum, but we're, you know I don't know. Just because we're a mom and pop operation, we're not that different from a lot of these places that just sell tickets for you to come see their shit. We just bring conventions so you can see.
Well, you have a more personal, investment in this. It's not in the items themselves. It's what the items represent. It's what you felt from it, and you want to share that uh, with other people that are like-minded.
At Scarefest, we had a woman come up to us, and she looked normal for all intents and purposes, but she was looking at the gate, or the Geen stuff, and
Yep.
my aunt was there and alive during all of that. Yes. And she was able to tell us this amazing story about her family who grew up in Plainfield, and they're all from Wisconsin in that same area. And, who else? There was another woman who came up. We had an Alcatraz book on the table, and she was like, my uncle was one of the people who were part of the Alcatraz escape. And,
Mm.
and I was
Talk
like,
about a rich history there.
right. I was like, of course, you got to ask, did they make it out? And she just kind of gave me a wink, and she was like, well, guess. And it was,
Priceless.
we've had family members of these people and people affected by it. Like, wow, I never thought I'd see something like this in my lifetime. I thought I'd have these family stories, and now I get to kind of like put something physical, tangible
Yeah.
and those are just the most amazing interactions.
True that.
Absolutely. And it connects us all in a way.
Right.
And it's just getting a deeper meaning, a deeper understanding of a moment in time. Shoot, we got some serious questions here. So I definitely got to get a couple of them to you. Cody says, what are your thoughts on Charlie Hunnam playing Ed Gein? As a matter of fact, that was something that had popped up earlier.
I personally am excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll do a great job of it, and That's something I've actually been pretty excited about ever since when I first saw it. I was like, this can't be real.
Right?
No way.
Because they did such a good job at getting him to look like him.
Yeah, no doubt, dude.
My girl answer is it's Charlie Hunnam. He can do no wrong.
Yeah, you know.
Answer is I'm a huge Ryan Murphy fan. I love Ryan Murphy, and I think he does a really good job with everything that he does, including the true crime stuff.
Yeah.
Even if people couldn't envision Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew the vision, and he knew that it was going to work out. And when we got those first look pictures, I was just blown away. Absolutely incredibly blown away. And I'm very much so looking forward to it.
Now, you alluded to having a few items from Elizabeth Warren. Now, obviously, myself, I've said it a million times on any of my other broadcasts, especially the horror barbecue show we do, that I am not a fan of the Conjuring series at all, because I just feel they didn't do any of it any justice. What were some of your guys' impressions of whatever you were able to get your hands on from that famous couple?
So I have a difficult, I don't know if it's not very well researched, but my general feeling about the Warrens is I do feel like there was some truth to a lot of the stuff that they did. Absolutely. We have gone to the museum in Las Vegas. What's his name?
Zach
Baggins Museum. And the presence of some of those items, which some of them, it was like, and a few of them were like, holy fuck, I don't want to be in this room any longer.
Yeah, you can feel it for sure.
You can feel it. But I think that they were part of the problem that we're kind of combating with the sensationalism of stuff. I think they saw dollar signs, especially in some of the later stuff they did. I think there was a lot of exploitation of their clients and the people that they came into contact with. I don't think it's entirely bullshit. I think they started off with the best of intentions. And I think that a lot of stuff, especially the later stuff, became a money grab, or I think they looked much more than it was worth, instead of honoring the people affected, honoring the spirits that were involved, the locations that were involved. They took it to whatever level they could. So
that was my general feeling as well. I think at one point they literally thought that they were trying to help people that couldn't otherwise get anyone else to believe them. Right. You know, especially dealing with any trapped beings within a home or a site where horrible things happen. And that genuinely they wanted to help them and give them a voice. But, you know,
but I don't think they would have done it for a low rate of affordability if they feel like there was something waiting on the back end for them. Because I think a lot of the cases were, I mean, just some of the most incredible cases, as you know, being perpetuated in media of all kinds today. But I think that sometimes there's more hurt than help going on. I feel like some of the cases were much more simple and could have been concluded. I think, and something I tell him and people all the time that I come into contact with, my specialty, I guess with paranormal, is like dark stuff.
Sure.
It's mostly misunderstood. It's not inherently evil. It's not malevolent.
No, it really isn't.
It's not what you think. I think there's just so much fear of what you don't understand.
Always.
And I think if some of those things were approached with that mindset, it wouldn't have become the next blockbuster hit or the next New York Times bestseller.
I mean, you got to love how Hollywood just wants to run with it and always make it, you know, good versus evil, instead of, oh, this is a tortured fucking soul that is looking for rest, and they're not actually, you know what I mean? trying to hurt everyone that comes across its path. It's like they're screaming at you, like, let me out, kind of thing.
But they also approached a lot of stuff in a religious aspect as well, which doesn't always work out. If you do it right, it works. If you do it with a closed mind, and that's the way it's got to happen, you're just setting yourself up for failure and probably pissing something off even more.
Yes. It's like poking the fucking bear. You don't want to do that shit. That was something we were just discussing the other night on the Horror Barbecue with the exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, God.
That poor girl went through 67. That number blew everyone's minds because I did some research on it. 67 different exorcist or exorcism rituals, which eventually killed the poor girl. It's like sometimes you got to look at it from different aspects instead of making things worse, and not knowing that you're making things worse is even more terrifying than what they thought was wrong with her.
That case transcended paranormal very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time to go into Emily Rose.
I had a feeling that y'all, kind of feel the way I do about that whole thing. That's definitely for another time, another show. That'd be badass as hell. Let's see. Mortimer here says, what would be the ultimate item for each of you to obtain?
Me, Israel Keys kill kit.
Yes.
Ooh.
One of the
now give just in case, there are those out in the Morgrot universe that are not familiar with this particular person in history. Yeah. Can you give us a little backstory?
Yeah. So Israel Keys, he lived in Alaska. And what made him different than, or he did at one point, what made him different than most serial killers is he would fly out to a location, get a rental car, drive states away, get items and bury them in a bucket, fly home, and then let a period of time pass.
Months or years.
Yeah, and then he would come back to the kit and make the kill so he couldn't be tracked down through video footage.
And it wasn't, I want to kill a kid or I want to kill the next, woman or whatever. It was like, all right, I unburied my kit and
whoever
that
gets it,
house
gets it,
right
yeah.
there. Yeah. I don't see any toys in the yard. I see some lights on. This looks like a good house. Let me go ahead and see who's behind door number 1 and just get the job done.
Yeah. And not only that, but he would go to like state parks where there were walking trails, and he would sit and wait for his victims to come to him, which I've heard about that. Anytime I'm going to a state park, I'm on high alert, dude.
We can't go hiking we have like eye signals and we look like a SWAT team going in.
You see
the hiking trail.
As well as you should. There's legends of, people living in some of the vast forests of Pennsylvania that so many hikers have gone missing. And, obviously, some utter chaos has ensued there. So I think that's really good education that you guys have that when you go out, because there's a lot of folks out there that they're off the grid. Nobody knows they're there. Suddenly you come along, I'm on this, health kick, and become somebody's dinner.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's terrifying to think of, but they have no idea how many kill kits. They have an estimation. 11 have been found or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think that might be off, but I'm not sure.
It's definitely off. We're not experts by any means, but several have found, but there are more out there. One recently within the past year, I believe, right?
That's what I've heard. I heard that recently from a friend, so I don't know if there's truth behind
honestly, though, if we ever find one, you won't know it, but there will be signs. But I think that would be cool for me. I kind of did get one of my Grail pieces in that large collection we got. For me, Columbine was really the first.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you what, and matter of fact, in a minute, we'll go inside and we'll show you exactly what we're talking about.
So that's the first, like, I remember watching the OJ Bronco chase with my mom.
I watched that shit live too.
I
That was unreal.
see, and I'm gonna like age myself, but I remember a lot of these things on the news from when I was younger.
Age is relative.
But Columbine was the first like big true crime thing that happened that impacted me in my life. Hold on, I got you. And I remember watching the news and having the news go over active shooter drills where they taught you how to lay down and breathe so that you were breathing, but it looked like you were dead. And I mean, that was the first major impact any true crime had on my life.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my Grail pieces was always something from Columbine, but I always wanted a yearbook. That was one thing that I'd been searching for. However, one of the biggest reasons, because this collection came up and we had just gotten like tax returns back and stuff, and we were like, we're going on vacation because it had been like a year since we'd been on a vacation, and we were ready to just chill out. And then literally it was like the next day Chad was like, so we could go on vacation, or this awesome collection came up. And when I was, I'm ready to just relax a little bit, and he was like, but there's a Columbine piece in it. And I was like, wow. And when he told me what it was, that was really for me, like, we've got to get this collection. It's a piece of glass from the school. And it does have blood on it.
Wow.
And we've got all the documents. So the guy that obtained it is a highly respected collector in the U.S. And he actually reached out to some of their friends days after. And they were saying how a lot of the people were going in and taking like little mementos, including parents and stuff. And so he ended up getting that. He actually owns a bunch of those kids' drawings, like their personal drawings. I think he owns like some of their CD booklet and stuff, like and he got a lot of stuff. But part of the deal was when he got it, and there's a letter stating it, that he made a promise he wouldn't speak about what he had got for 10 years because the FBI was so hot on the case.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that was not only my personal impact, but also the impact that it had in the music world at that time. Aside from the West Memphis 3 thing, it was, watching Bowling for Columbine, watching, like them saying that the last thing they listened to was Antichrist Superstar or something off of that by Marilyn Manson.
Oh, poor Manson.
It's just like, and
always looking for, somebody to pin it.
Watching this community that I loved and this music that I loved get blamed for, this horrific, just like these kids, just like Manson said, like someone should have, one of the big lines was, what would you say to them? And he was like, I would say nothing. I would just listen to them, because that's what they needed, was someone to listen to them.
Yep.
Give the poor kids a fucking hug or something, like, and it's Jesus.
I mean, even at that point, people were still not thinking, heavily on mental health signs. Like that wasn't the first thing they thought of. They just wanted to go to, it's because they were being fed this information. That's not always the case. They just needed to be heard.
They just needed Jesus.
Right.
They needed the Lord and an exorcism, apparently. And that's just something, when I hear shit like that, like that's literally shaped, and I know for him it's true as well, but shaped who we are as people and how we go in the world every day, and in our interactions with people, and come through some of the struggles that we've come through personally. It's fighting desperately to say, hey, you are strong enough to do this on your own. This has nothing to do with religious affiliation. This has nothing to, in fact, you can be tattooed head to toe and have a great heart and love and
exactly
be one of the most caring people. You can show up in corpse paint and be a demon clown and give the best hugs in the world,
So I hear anyway. Oh man. And again, you can see that this is not just a fascination like, oh wow, this person really did that. No, it's trying to gain deeper knowledge
Right.
on, what went wrong there. And I believe that, psychiatrists and anyone that works in that field to this very day are trying to figure out, um, what could have brought this on. Let me see here. Cody says, being from Tennessee, I know you guys know of Brushy Mountain State Pen. I have an uncle who was there back in the 80s or 90s. He said it was brutal.
Wow, that's amazing. That's one of our bucket list places. We've been to Waverly Hills.
That's one that's on our radar too. I was trying to do a photo shoot, like a horror shoot down there for my modeling. And it's like trying to get an audience with the fucking Pope just to get through the gate.
Right. We did Trans-Allegheny. We recently went to, what was the one in Pennsylvania?
Oh shit! Yeah, I got a magnet of it on the refrigerator.
I know. But Brushy Mountain is still on our radar. However, I feel like I kind of have pushed it to the not the bottom of the list, but pushed it down the list because something I know that it's haunted, and like I said, I don't enjoy doing research before I go. I want to go and have the experience and then do the research.
Have that open-mindedness, yeah.
Yes. But for whatever reason, I just kind of felt apprehensive going there. Like there's going to be a really interesting it will be an interesting time, but I feel like my body is kind of like, you're going to have to really be prepared for this one. I think there's something there kind of waiting, wanting to be heard and waiting for, I'm not saying victim or anything like that, but it seems kind of overwhelming. And I know there's a lot of tragedy in that place. And I know that they've done like really cool stuff with music there, which is really cool. But even being in the music lane for a decade or over a decade, we still hadn't made it there. And I feel like there's a reason for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's definitely a specific time and you'll know when that time is right because it'll be calling to you.
Yeah. Like doors always open when they're supposed to.
Exactly. I know it sucks that everyone always says it, but everything happens for a reason and when it does.
It does. We've never kicked a door down ever. But we've had some amazing doors open for us exactly when they needed to.
Hell yeah. So has there ever been, and I'm sure there probably is, any type of serial killer going even further back that you've ever been like felt a pull towards? Maybe it was like a warlord or, something much, much, older than
like
serial killers.
Like that.
What's that?
Are you talking about like a Genghis Khan or something like that?
Well, just like how far back, has there ever been anyone, in older history?
Yeah, I mean, got H.H. Holmes. I mean, obviously that's
the one I was gonna ask about.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
We've actually been fortunate enough to go to the grounds where the castle once stood. There's a post office built there.
Still
now.
Trying to find that postal worker in to see about the tunnels that are supposedly there.
Supposedly the tunnel still exists. Now that could just be a rumor, but we've heard that there's an entryway somewhere in the basement of the post office. That's the rumor, and I'm sure somebody's been in there. But
we're still trying to find that door. But
that's a crazy story. If you're watching, you've never looked into it, go look into it immediately after this. Watch what you count H.H. Holmes. I mean, this guy built an entire hotel that had different passageways and different ways where he could go in and feed people gas, and he would dump their bodies down a chute and then
You want to talk about dedication to the craft?
Yeah, sell their skeletons. He was making money on skeletons.
He was just
an entrepreneur and a killer.
He was selling human remains way before we ever even thought about it.
I think for the early one that I really just fixated on was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah,
for sure.
The Black Dahlia murder. I know that was in the 40s. Elizabeth.
Still.
Richard Speck.
Oh man.
But I think the unsolved really kind of get to me quite a bit.
The Zodiac.
Yeah.
We just were watching something on that, and it's just, that's frustrating to me because I think a lot of it, I think a lot of those, we know exactly who did them or somebody does, but it's a lack of, forensic technology in those days. But B, there was a lot of wealth and privilege that happened, a lot of cover-ups, a lot of, a lot of corruption. And I feel like eventually we'll have some of those answers even to this. I feel like it's going to have to be several generations that pass before.
Isn't that crazy?
But I think that, I mean, hell, we just got the H.H. Holmes answers.
Right. Exactly. Mortimer says, I believe Jack the Ripper was Francis Tumpley.
There are so many names on the list of, and
so many.
Yeah. And they were just testing DNA off of a scarf, hoping that they could get something off of it. I mean, something's going to happen where we get a solidified answer. Everybody speculates. Yeah, absolutely. Francis is high up on the list of like A+ suspect, but something concrete to put in the history books to say this was Jack the Ripper hasn't happened yet.
I know one thing I like to do is show you a couple things, and also it's cold as fuck out here. My nipples
by all means, man. You guys have been troopers.
So about 7 inches.
Damn, they're out there.
Well, can I take you inside and show you a couple things? Or?
Let's do it.
Cool.
And just for everybody out there in the Morgrat universe, I have been subliminally hitting you with where to find them at offbeathorror.com at the bottom of the screen, which has links to literally everything. Which we'll be talking about some of their upcoming projects here momentarily after we get to see just a glimpse.
All right. So you have Chelsea talk about this one, and I'll point the Richard.
Absolutely.
So we really lucked out with the Richard Speck.
Wow.
Because his pieces, not only are they extremely hard to come by, he didn't do a lot of them. But this one was in the collection and it was put away because it was damaged. So normally there's no way we could have gotten a hold of an intact Richard Speck. I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars in value.
Right.
This was, we've had it professionally framed, made it look nice, but it was just a rolled up piece of canvas. Got it. So it was, the value was unknown. So we were able to go in and give it some TLC. And now we have this otherwise unobtainable piece in our collection.
Mm-hmm.
It was a self-portrait, and it's signed twice, once in the bottom right corner and on the back of it. And when we had it framed, we took pictures of the signatures, and it's got a pocket in the back with all like documentation and everything. The collar thing.
Where is it?
It's in here. I'm gonna take you to my room now. We'll show you guys the Columbine. It's gonna be in my top drawer. Here's our.
These are.
No worries.
As she gets that, yep. Here we go. I'm gonna point it towards you.
So this is one of my holy grail pieces.
Fucking hell!
Wow. But there is the blood on the glass.
Isn't that something?
But this is, and this is what people ask all the time. Is this stuff that you get the heebie-jeebies off of, or you get no, not at all. It's very manageable. I mean, we get stuff off of stuff, but
there's the Dahmer. That's the first gift she gave me.
So this is our very first piece of murderabilia.
Oh, wowzers.
And we will probably always have this just because it was our very first.
And we've got a COA from the guy. He went and got it notarized from the construction company.
Because
I'm sure some people will probably wonder, what's the process? I mean, anybody can just say they have something from somewhere. You know, we could just say, hey, this is from Ed Gein's property, but where we come in, we try to get all the documentation we can. Like for the Ed Gein stuff, I've got videos of the guy at the property showing you the address, showing you the location. If anybody's ever seen it on YouTube, you know it's there, and you get to watch unearth these things from the ground.
Wow.
And he actually went and had blueprints of the structures, you know. I'm trying to think what else we might have laying around. Oh, and this
I think that latest show, I believe it was Netflix that did on Dahmer, that Spotlight, where they were showing construction workers at the end of the series, where they were like, "Oh, I can get you a piece of this or that."
Yeah.
So I mean, for them to do that, you know that there were people, you know, trying to kind of sell off bits of the real deal.
Oh, for sure. And now Chelsea's actually more things before it's done. All right, there we go. So here's some cards. Let's do these.
And these are really cool, and I think they're some of our favorites to kind of have because, you know, we kind of struggled a little bit with the taking a whole piece of something and kind of breaking it. But, you know, there is value to this stuff, and we do sink our own money into stuff, and you know, we do our absolute best to make it affordable. We try not to. We at least want to make our money back.
Right.
Try not to come out of pocket for stuff, but one of the ways to make it more affordable is to it's like our starter pieces, or if you don't want to go big. So like, for example, this is a piece of fabric from the Heaven's Gate mansion, and you know, all the information and stuff of how it was acquired, but you know, everything's documented. This is some of Arthur Shawcross's hair.
Oh man, yeah.
So just little things like that. Charles Manson's death shroud when he was laying in the morgue.
Wow.
So the goal is to make it a little more attainable. If you want something, we'll do our best to work with you. And
for sure. Like we've done payment plans for people, layaway, you know, because that's how it was for us when we first started getting and collecting. We didn't have the money to buy, you know, big pieces, but we met some collectors with shit. A lot of them make you make several payments, and when you paid me, I'll send it to you. And we did that to obtain some of the first bigger pieces. Like we've got a piece.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So this is, well, the label's falling off because it's cold, but this is from John Wayne Gacy's house. It was just
unholy fuck.
It's a from like
Look
a door,
at
like a hinge or something, or a doors. But just making it look nicer, getting the displays, putting a little care and TLC into it. You know,
well, you have to preserve it. Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to, you know, some of these items I'm sure are very old, and at any given moment, you know, they could deteriorate.
Right.
So you want to do that, sure.
So this is a photograph. It's showing the deconstruction of John Wayne Gacy's house.
Damn.
But we actually own the film strip. This is from a journalist who was there taking the photos. So this block of 5 photos, nobody else has in the world except for us. So
wow.
One of these prints is from the film strip, and it's just you know, I think this one, they're actually toting out the part of the door from the crawl space. So
well, we all know about that crawl space.
Yeah, and we sell those prints. So if somebody that was authentic, this is cool.
This is we got it makes me feel a little dirty because we got to like scrape the bag to make it more presentable. We haven't done it yet, just because it's going to be kind of a delicate and time-consuming thing. But these are Charles Manson's cremains. Some of them little pieces here and there.
Wow.
And that's a really cool story. If you want to.
Yeah, so that one, whenever ultimately there was like a legal battle over Charles Manson's body. Ultimately, he was cremated. There was a service had with some collectors and people that were involved with Charles Manson. Everybody was given some cremains to throw out. Well, one of the guys ended up pocketing some. He came under a bunch of heat, but we ended up getting that from a collector. That's just a few small pieces, but still a really cool item, you know. And then we've got human bones laying around. We just sold a human skull to a museum in Brooklyn called the Bone Museum.
Honestly, it's so weird kind of looking around because it's like I don't realize until I'm looking for stuff how much stuff we have scattered.
There's a femur over there. There's
a
tibia, to the left.
A little human vertebrae just.
Yeah, we sell those.
Oh, that's crazy. We have the exact same display moon that you have there on the wall. Wow, that was in my shop for quite a long time.
The greatest band ever. If you guys haven't checked them out, they're the theme song for all of our episodes. Zaya.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. A lot of weird shit.
Unbelievable. So let's talk real quick. This is shameless plug time. What are some of the events that you have coming up in the near future as we get ready to close 2024?
Well, in January 11th is displayed on there. It is now at the Capitol Theater in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We have our True Crime and Paranormal Convention.
There it is.
We have some incredible people coming through. Dear friends from the paranormal, amazing people from True Crime. Karen Conti, who was final lawyer. She was trying to go through all the death penalty appeals with him. Alex Hawkins is the grandson of serial killer Judy Bueno Año, who was the first female to be executed in the state of Florida. By electric chair. Judy LaChance, of course, we've talked about her extensively. She's with Effigy Paranormal, and she'll be there. We have Beth and Bear Allen. They're the current owners of Octagon Hall in Kentucky, one of the most haunted places in America. There's Rob Graves. He's the current owner of Fox Hollow Farms, which was Herb Baumeister's house when he was doing his serial killer thing. There have been tens of thousands of pieces of human remains found. They're still finding some.
Damn.
I mean, just some incredible, and there's more people. We actually added a couple today. Some amazing people that have reached out to us wanting to be a part of this. And I'm just gobsmacked. So freaking cool.
Oh man.
So we got that.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. March 29th at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We're doing our 9th annual Vet City Con. We've just confirmed Tyler Main, who was Michael Myers and Rob Zombie's Halloween.
That's right.
We have Travis Ceruni, who worked on a bunch of like Holliston, Hatchet. He directed a movie with Robert Englund called The Midnight Man.
He worst rated horror movie on Rotten Tomatoes, which was the shot-for-shot remake of Cabin Fever. Still amazing. He's a dear friend of ours. Yeah. He actually did the illustrations for our Offbeat Horror coloring book.
Yep. Barnes and Nobles online. You can get it. Serial Killer 6 is. And several other people, man. We're still working on guests. So, if you follow us at offbeathorror.com, it's all pinned there. You'll be able to check it out. Oh, dude, absolutely. Come on.
I'm available.
Come on,
March 29th, there will be a table with your name on it. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah, bring
I'm in like Flint.
So Cody to come on.
Hell yeah, that would be amazing because I'm trying as one of the men in indie horror trying to wave the flag for us. because a lot of the bigger cons are like, we don't really deal with indie horror. Okay, Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to him. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would definitely be down for that kind of thing. So
Vet CityCon is our passion project.
that's awesome.
Everything we do is a passion project, but Vet CityCon really is for the love of it. We went to so many conventions and we had so much fun and we loved them so much, but we got to the point where like they're just not affordable for the most part. Like
yeah.
You're making bukus and you don't have family and kids, or you're okay with being in debt. You pay $200 per VIP ticket, plus you pay however much for parking, you pay for hotels.
Right.
So we were like, God, can we do this on a smaller scale where it's still cool? We put a cap on a lot of the celebrity stuff there. It's not usually more than $50 or $60 on a high end. For
selfies are always free.
Right. Affordable for vendors, and we just want to create a space where people can come down and have a good time and dress up. We kind of treat it like a Halloween and like a middle of the
good place for like cosplay and stuff like that.
And we try to make it's geared more towards family friendly, but also it's very horror leaning because it's us.
Of course.
But it's still fun. It's still cool. It's been great enough for us to be able to do it for 9 years now.
Oh man, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on.
I was gonna say, a lot of the smaller cons don't really get, a lot of press. So to be able to do that event for as long as you have, it just goes to show you the testament to the awesome horror community. And it's like I said, I did tattoo cons for the last couple of years, and then I started doing horror cons this year. There's nothing like the horror community. They are passionate. Even if they don't know your work, they want to know about it.
We really lucked up, I think, with it being in Bowling Green, because we did try to bring together to somewhere we both lived for a while, Columbus, Georgia. We tried to do smaller convention there, and it just wasn't as welcoming. We have amazing sponsors in Bowling Green. We have hotel sponsors. We get all of the press coverage we could ever ask for. We give away thousands of tickets a year just because we want people to come and experience it and it be successful for vendors and for the guests. Like, it truly is our passion project. We just don't want to come out of pocket, or we don't want to come out of pocket enough to where we're like, losing our home.
It could make or break you. I get that.
Sometimes we do come out of pocket, and that's okay. We keep doing it. But it's Bowling Green. This is where John Carpenter grew up. This is where Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Smith's Grove's just down the road. Like, this area is the birthplace of Halloween and Michael Myers. So I think it's just built in this community, and it's been amazing to us.
That's fantastic. If I could be a guest there, I would definitely cover this for the Reapers Underground and the Morgrot Entertainment Network for sure. So.
For sure. Come on, dude. You and Cody both. Y'all pack up and come on. We'll see you.
All right. You heard that, Defiler. Got a date. Man, it has been an absolute pleasure having you guys on tonight and being able to give everybody out there in the attic section and everybody that has tuned in for you all tonight to really put a spotlight on some of the awesome stuff that you're doing, items, and making it affordable to those who are enthusiasts and very much like-minded in the horror community. So real quick, let's make sure that we let them know how they can find you on social media.
Everything is linked through offbeathorror.com, OFFBEAT horror.com. From our personal to our business, we're so accessible. You can send us, either one of us, a fucking message if you want to just chat about weird shit, and we will talk for hours if that's going to make you happy, because that makes us so happy. like reach out about anything and everything. Everything we have is on our Offbeat page. And you just got to hit us up. We do, I will say quickly that we do slightly screen people. So
You kind of have
if
to.
you're coming to us wanting to buy stuff and it's going to be a part of like an altar of like, your Megatron serial killers, I got to collect them all. And then I can go fulfill my life's purpose of slaughtering people.
Oh, hell no.
You're barking up the wrong tree here, but
Well,
so many people like all of us in this room who this is just their thing. It's cool. And that those are the people that we want to connect with. And we want to bring you into this.
excellent. Thank you, Chad, Chelsea, for joining me tonight here in the underground. And thank you to everyone that has shown up for them tonight. And you need to like, follow, and share after this broadcast. If you haven't already, you need to definitely check them out, especially and keep up with all the events that they're doing, because you never know when they're going to be in your town.
That's true.
And you can meet them in person, as I have. And I look forward to a long-standing relationship with you both.
Yeah, same, bro.
I absolutely love what you're doing. I fell in love with you the first time I found your table.
Yeah, same, bro.
I was a little jealous when he came back and he was like, hey, I met these guys. And I'm like, you're married, but
Oh, shit. I love it. But, we are one people united by horror, and there's just nothing better than that. So, again, thank you all for showing up tonight.
Thank you.
And as you're going to bed tonight, preparing for the weekend, and you have visions of serial killers dancing in your heads, the one thing that will always keep you grounded, one foot in the fire and one on the ground, is to stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Reaper's Underground. Stay tuned for more from Moor Grot Entertainment in association with Black Flame Entertainment.